Hey, friends and family, how's it going? It is Tuesday, and it's the 17th of December. It's in the evening, and a lot of times by this time of day, I'm feeling pretty mellow and almost camera shy, so that's why I haven't been making many videos in the evening, usually in the morning. But I've had an interesting day. Took a nap, up, and I'm having a evening cup of coffee, which is not usual. It's not usual, but I am today. Today's been kind of a cool day, and I just thought I'd get back on and talk a little bit and see how it goes, see where it goes. The feedback and the comments and the interaction, the communication that I'm having with you all in these last few videos has just been really, it's wonderful, you know, because it just really feels good to interact with you all, feeling like people are understanding, you know, and knowing that it's just, you know, I'm just over here just being one guy who just, I just want to share my story and my thoughts above and beyond my records. I mean, you know, the vinyl community is truly what got me here, but me talking about issues, that's part and parcel. I mean, that is exactly who I am, and the music and the history of the music in my life is so integral. It has so much to do with my worldview. A lot to do with it. What I'm listening to in the background is, again, I'm listening to myself. What I've got going is my master disc for my next vinyl, and I've been I'm at the point where I'm giving it critical listens. I have to master myself. I can't afford to have it mastered. I did the last two masters myself. They came out okay. You guys have the records, so you know I can do it. So listening to the sequence, I'm 99.7% sure this is going to be the sequence of the album. And one of the things that happened today is I went to lunch at Nicola's, a local restaurant that is run by a friend / fan of mine, John Chartrand. I've mentioned his name before, and John, you'll probably see this, and just thank you, John, for everything. You know, you're a great guy. You know, I had a really nice visit with you today, and the food was good. But while I was talking to John, with you today, John, I was sharing with John how I am struggling with being true to how I really am about my music and wanting to be more business-like and pragmatic. I mean, I've got to, if I want the music to be my primary vehicle of survival, I want it to be pure, but I do want more people to hear it. And I'm wrestling with the vocal thing is what it comes down to. It's like I've been trying vocals myself and I don't like what I'm doing. And I have one guy, Chris, like I said, we haven't come up with a take yet that I like, although I like his voice. But what I want to say is, really for me, this music is what I want to share with you, you know? It's like I don't want this to be the background of a vocal. Not really, I don't. It's like, you know, even with records that I like the vocals and the strong melodies, and I find myself singing and remembering the melodies, what I'm listening to is the whole picture. And a lot of times it's little things in the background of the music that is really what excites me and keeps me coming back to music. And that's what I want to encourage. That's why I make the music, and I know there's other people like you there's other people like me out there that listen like I do, or listen like you do. You're listening to the picture, That's what this music is. Anyway, excited about it and trying to get it together. Hopefully we'll hear from Tim this week to see what he's got going art-wise. I'm ready to go. But in my last video, I talked a little bit about, you know, how I live, you know, being single and stuff, you know, and had some interactions with people. I want to shout out to Graham and Jen and Daddy Paniques, and a couple videos back, Super West said hey, you know, all you folks, I love you so much. But you know, the interaction with Daddy Paniques, and who or why, someone named Y, got me thinking that I wanted to you know, share more of my thoughts, because it really was a revelation to me when I learned the difference between being alone and loneliness. Now I just want to share what I learned and how I'm using it, because it may not make sense to some of you folks, you know, but years and years ago, I don't know how I learned this or who said it or what I read, but I came across the information that says that loneliness is not a real emotional state. It's a mental field that we conjure up into an emotional expression. In other words, being alone and not connected to another person, how we interpret that mentally is really what can lead to, this is my experience, I found it to be true, is that I can feed a fire of loneliness with my thoughts. I'm only lonely because I think I am. And I'm talking about, I'm being broad right now, but now I'll bring it more down to, let's talk about intimacy and in particular sex, because I do think that there is a great amount of human behavior that confuses, so again, I'm talking about my experience, confuses sexual behavior with whether or not they're lonely or okay. Now, again, please remember that mostly all I'm saying is trying to relate what I understand in my personal experience, okay? And again, what I'm trying to share is, once I learned to take a look at loneliness, you know, and I know that this came about from, I'm certain that it came about partially through counseling and searching as a young person, you know, being kind of dorky and trying to deal with, you know, feeling like a social misfit and get that together. I know that's somewhat related to this information coming my way. But anyway, to get back to what I'm trying to share is, the idea is that being alone without other people around you in and of itself is not loneliness. It has nothing to do with it. It's the perception of one's state. You can be very lonely. I think many people know this. You can be lonely in a crowded room. It's your perception of yourself in relation to yourself and others. And so, once I learned this, and it's been a long time ago, and meditate on it, I don't get lonely. I get horny, but it's not the same as loneliness. And I'm not above doing home maintenance when it comes to the horniness. But I also have, through my own personal experience, have not had a good experience with using others just for sexual gratification. I mean, I've had some good experiences, but mostly what I'm saying is that when I had this, the last times that I took gratification just because I knew I could get it, it was not gratifying. And it actually ended up being the exact opposite. Something that I'll try to relate to ancient world knowledge, and I may not get it right, but I think I understand that it goes back as far as the Vedas, the teaching, the idea that when two humans come together and have a sexual union and create that high level of spiritual and true electrical energy, like, you know, achieving orgasm and stuff, it's like, even this, I've found this to be true, even when you do it and it's not an act of love or harmony or something really high where, you know, you're mentally trying to achieve that, you still create this literal physical psychic bond through creating that energy together that lasts a minimum of 120 days. Now that's something I learned decades ago and have found to be true. I found it to be true that in my personal experience there is no such thing as wham bam thank you ma'am. Even the worst encounters where it was like, ooh, that was the worst sex I ever had, or just like, ooh, why did I even choose you? The aftermath of going that far physically is something that washes off with time, you know, and I, for one, have not been very successful at ignoring it or compartmentalizing it like I'm thinking some people can. It's like, ooh, what just happened? Or I don't know. It's something that I have to go through, you know, and so I don't take it lightly. And the other thing I'm trying to relate is I'm glad that I learned that having sex or not having sex has nothing to do with being lonely. Sex is very healthy and essential, but the current phase of the entire planet, from my perspective and experience, is very out of balance. And that also includes a lot of sexual behavior, you know. And I've said it before, I'm just mainly sit it out because I can't quite make heads or tails of it, you know. You know, I'm on the home maintenance plan. You know, we repeat patterns, and one of the last, I'm a real human being, so I'm attracted to humanity, okay? The current people that are most close to being people that I would choose to try and start a relationship with are some women, okay? I am attracted to my own, I think it's natural to be attracted to both people of your own sex, you know, to different varying degrees. So I just hate this fact that we've put we've had to call it something, because I don't agree with that. It's just very natural. But I've noticed in my life this pattern of getting involved where you know, I'll see a certain aspect of the relationship that I really like, and I'll ignore all this other stuff which is obviously going to manifest. And that's what's present with there's a couple of women that I'm really very attracted to and I like, and they're my friends, you know. But I just choose to keep it there, knowing that, oh, I don't know it, you know what I'm saying? But this is the way I choose to go. And I just wanted to share more thoughts on this. Because of the comments, people, you know, saying that, you know, yeah, talk more, and it's on my mind. Talking longer than I was hoping to talk, so I'll probably leave this to upload overnight. It'll probably be available on Wednesday. So, to just continue along these lines, my personal experience when I attempted to check out the gay lifestyle when I was younger. It was like, that just didn't work for me, you know what I'm saying? That just didn't work, you know. No diss on it, but yeah, just, you know, the way that it is in the world for the most part isn't working for me. To switch while I see what else rises to the surface, the last record that I played that is still on my turntable is I played one side of Caustic Window, which is a compilation of stuff by Richard James, better known as Aphex Twin. And so I recently played this. This is the 3 LP set, which is interesting. You know, it's on some kind of, not pure vinyl, it's like it's on some kind of, like paper that is coated. It's an interesting, and therefore there's the surface noise is, you hear it. Interesting. The other thing that I played the other day, I'd been meaning to pull this, was this 10-inch by Cindy Talk. It's a limited edition, one-sided 10-inch by Cindy Talk. Some of you folks know Cindy Talk. He was involved in This Mortal Coil. But this is one-sided. Close to industrial. Kind of bleak, but really, really good. I love it when people who make soundscapey stuff are able to pull it off, like Nurse with Wound and some of that, the best of that stuff, where it's like you don't at first, can't quite identify if it's organic, electronic, and stuff sounds old and ancient and stuff. I like that. So those are the last couple of records that I've actually played. Here's something else. A couple of folks have contacted me, and I've contacted you back, but I want to back it up. A couple of folks from Germany where your records haven't come yet. Hopefully one by now should have arrived. And then the other person, I've contacted you twice and you haven't gotten back to me. I forget your name, about what, you know, what you want to do. I don't want to just send out another record without having contact with you. So get a hold of me, okay? And also, with that said, I do need to do some promotion, you know. I do have records and CDs still for sale. I'll leave the links. You can listen to everything. But I'm still excited about this music and having it come out on vinyl. It's out on CD now. This is on the soundtrack. But this version is not on the CD soundtrack. This version is going to be on the vinyl, which I like even better than what's on the CD, but the CD version is cool. So 2 different versions of this track are going to be available. I think the only other thing I want to say is, you know, when I talk about my looking at the world and the current state of just real mayhem, I sometimes, you know, feel conflicted because it's like, I don't want to be part of the problem, and yet in some ways I can't help but be, you know. Like, for example, it's not that I'm anti-religion. What I'm pissed off about is how whatever original benefits were there, it appears to me that the primary source of war, a big part of it has been religion, you know. And the thing is, I know there's a lot of people, we have to be able to get along, but one's spiritual path is so personal, you know. The idea of trying to tell others what to do and how to think and feel, and I know that many people, I guess, have to have it, but I know that's just not for me. And when I was a little kid, See, I remember this still, even as a little boy, when I first started to understand what they were trying to shove down my throat in the church, the teachings, the dogma. It just like, it didn't sound right. It didn't feel right. Now, and son of a bitch, it was. I was feeling correctly, you know, not for me. I'm not saying if you're a religious person and you have a path that follows that, go for it, but not me. Not me. And I think my voice and voices like mine need to be heard, can be helpful to some people. My idea is not to destroy anything. My idea is to pull back the veil of bullshit that keeps a lot of people feeling bad about themselves because of ideas that are shoved down their throats, shoved down our throats because someone else likes it or because this is the way we've always done it, you know. Cultures and societies, you know, normal behavior isn't normal. It's just what's normalized. I mean, look at some of the behavior that's been normal at different times throughout recorded history. And there's all the history that's not recorded or that's been lost that we just, you know, I wish we could know about. I know there's traces of it, and I just feel it in my being that there have been eras on this planet, you know, thousands and thousands of years ago, where we were getting it right. You know, where we were getting it right, where this just seems a big part of it. You know, right now everything is patriarchal, but back when woman and being the mother was understood, recognized, and boom, that was center place. And I've said this before, it's, you know, I think it has a lot to do with just my dissonance with trying to do relationships right now, is because it's just, the whole landscape is just fucked. I mean, I know that, again, I can create my own personal landscape, but I'm just musing out loud, you know. These are things I think about. These are things I think about. The whole idea, though, that the inner circle of evil secret society people who have this agenda based on Lucifer, worship of Lucifer. This is all in history and all this information, so I'm just paying attention to it. Okay, it just really smacks of there's something to it, you know. There's something to it. It's like, this is not bullshit, you know. I haven't seen it from my own eyes, but I understand there's a plaque at the Statue of Liberty where you can see with your own eyes that it was a gift from the Freemasons, and it was, I understand that the Australians, they tried to give it to, I believe the French tried to give it to the Australians, where the Illuminati started. And the Australians said, get that shit the fuck out of here, you know. The Statue of Liberty is a Luciferian symbol. Now, I didn't make that up, okay? So, I didn't make that up. Research it. You know, just so much of conventional. I mean, like, again, before I go, just it's a lot that's on my mind, you know. So much of conventional trains of thought in Western society to me are just so, it's just like so not real, and so, it's just so much propaganda. And the last thing I want to say is, you know, U.S. media is pure propaganda. Pure propaganda. We don't get the news. You know, there's all this stuff going on in the Ukraine. There's Iceland, dealing with their bankers. There's all kinds of things going on around in the world with people that matter. And yet all the U.S. media has been talking about is, you know, the ongoing putting to rest of Mandela. and other little trite shit, you know. It's controlled, you know, it really is controlled by the corporations who don't want, they think we're idiots. They don't give a fuck about, you know, let me just get this out because it's just true, you know. You know, when, again, growing up, the idea that the fact that Americans in this being discussed as a group were primarily identified as consumers, you know, that didn't sit well with me as a kid when I said, why are they calling us consumers first? Don't you get, you know, he said our function is to consume. We don't matter, you know. Brzezinski said in some interview about the world that it's easier to kill than to it's easier to kill people than to manage them. Sure seems like that's what the plan is, to just get rid of people, just make it harder and harder, you know, just push, you know, push us over the edge, you know. That's why I keep, when I look at this information about the history of the Illuminati and the secret societies within Freemasonry and stuff, there's got to be something to it, you know. And it pisses me off, you know what I'm saying, because I have a right to enjoy life, you know what I'm saying. It angers me to think that if I can't get my hustle together enough that I may have to sacrifice my luxury, which is to sell my collection just to pay bills and eat. I have a right to enjoy this physical life. And that's what angers me, you know, that the rich bitches are just hoarding it. And so many of them are so undeserving, in my opinion, because of the way they got it. And that's why I'm just not going to even give any honor to politicians and leaders and shit. I know there's honorable people, but whatever they're trying to do, you know, they're a little speck of white in a big ocean of green and yellow and like vomit. It's, you know, yes, this shit is always on my mind. And even when I, you know, it's just who I am, you know, just who I am. So those are my thoughts. I've talked enough. This connection, though, is important, and this is this interaction, you know, is important, and it's real, you know. So it's like talking to you, and then having your comments back. Even when you don't comment back, I know that I'm connected. You know, doing this is a healthy thing for me, you know, and it feels like a real connection. I'm not lonely, and I choose my aloneness. I have all the company I want, and I could have all the sex partners I want. You all know that we can all have all kinds of sex with all kinds of people. That's not the issue, you know. The issue is what does an individual value? You know, what's important to each one of us, and I'm just sharing to you what's important to me, or what I think is anyway. You know, everything is in flux, always learning, always learning.